Good morning. Welcome to Lesson 2, Video 13. That's right, it's the Bar Mitzvah video. Woohoo! It must be triple blessed. Okay, nothing. That's a lot. That's a big expectation. Okay, so here we go. Start from the bottom. This is not the first video. This is a series of 52 lessons. The first lesson had over 30 videos in it. So if you're just tuning in now, you are way behind. So here's what you want to do. Look right underneath this video. There should be a window with some links in it. If you don't see that, then there's an easy remedy. Go over here and find the little teeny YouTube icon. Give that a click or two. That'll take you to the dedicated page for this video on YouTube. Below the video, you'll find a box crammed with links at the bottom of either at the top or the bottom of the box. There's a Show More button. Click the Show More button. It opens up a whole page full of links. They're very, very useful. Now, the very first link under the video should read, "The series of 52 lessons begins with Meditation Lesson 1, Video 1, arose by any other name." And then there's a link to a page on my website with all the videos and all the links you need. Start there. Don't let your curiosity be undermined by either laziness or pride. Start with the first lesson. Now, all of my lessons only make sense if you have the latest free PDF text entitled The First Set of Lesson Texts. The link to find that is also in that list. So pause me while you get the latest link. I ain't going nowhere. Okay, let's start with today's lesson without any further ado. So what I want you to do is turn to the 15th page of the first set of lesson texts. Sometimes there's a numbering debacle, so you'll know it's the 15th page, because the first line, of course not counting the links, the first line on that page reads, "He is brilliant white and radiates the 6 lights of white, green, yellow, blue, red, and black." Okay, so if that's not your 15, then find your 15. When you do, we'll continue. The third quatrain on page 15 reads, "Adorned with ornaments of silks and jewels, his left shoulder covered by a deerskin." Let's go back one page. For me, that's number 14. Whoops, wrong button. There you go. On 14, we have what's called a line drawing depicting four-armed Chenrezig, also known as four-armed Avalokiteshvara, or simply four-armed Buddha of Compassion. And if you look carefully upon his left shoulder, dangling or just on the level of his left pec, you'll see the head of a deer or an antelope, depending upon which translation you're using. Now, you could be all up in arms and you say, "Hey, but this dead carcass of an animal doesn't seem very compassionate. That doesn't seem very cruelty-free. What's up?" Glad you asked. Well, first of all, this is just a drawing, and I assure you, no deers, no less photons, were harmed in the production of this image. Number 2, this is iconography. This is symbolism. This is not intended to infer that when the Buddha of Compassion was corporeal, he was always trotting around with a dead animal skin on his shoulder. No, it serves us there as a symbol to remind us of the mystic tantric tradition in India. So here's the deal. In Indian iconography, whether it's Hindu, Jain, or Buddhist, a lone yogi is often depicted as sitting upon the skin of either a tiger or an antelope or a deer. And it was believed by the ancients that by sitting upon the hide of a strong animal, you could drink in its essence. Now, does that have anything to do with Buddhism? No, it doesn't. Well, there's something sticky on my lips. Anyway, I hope I got it. Buddhism does not sanction the slaughter of animals so that we can harvest their energy. But in ancient India, the sight of a yogi or a meditator sitting upon an animal hide inferred that the meditator was not just meditating on the sutra teachings, but also on the tantra teachings. Not just on the Lam Rim, but the chalk chain. And if you don't know what the chalk chain is, it's because you haven't been watching all the videos, or you've forgotten. So, jot this down. The Lam Rim teachings are the intellectual teachings that can be expressed in terms of devotion, awareness, love, and letting go. Or they can be expressed in terms of renunciation, compassion, wisdom, and love. Either one of those outlines works just fine. Chalk chain are the mystical teachings, the esoteric teachings. So far, in the lesson 1 set of videos, you learned the chalk chain techniques of awareness and letting go. Later on in this set of videos, you'll learn the chalk chain techniques of alternate nostril breathing, which are different from their Hindu equivalents. So, the presence of the deer skin upon the left shoulder of Chenrezig, or the Buddha of Compassion, infers that Chenrezig practices both the intellectual practices as well as the mystic teachings, because the latter is without the latter, it is impossible to fully realize the wisdom teachings on a visceral level. There was a point in my life, in my training during this incarnation, when I received pointing out instructions from Baka Tulku. Gotta watch out for that floating L. Baka Tulku. And he pointed out to me at that point in my career as a monastic that although I'd received a lot of the wisdom teachings, I'd failed to understand them viscerally. I only understood them intellectually. And so he began teaching me the techniques to process the teachings on a visceral gut level, to transform my intuition, as it were. Folks, that's what I offer to you. And that's what the image is reminding us of, that we need all the teachings. Although they're essentialized, we still need all the teachings. All the intellectual teachings, all the esoteric teachings. Well, that's it. That's all you get right now. Now let's see if I get my coordination going right. I want to remind you to click subscribe and, oopsie, like and share. There you go. Now, one of the links below the video will tell you, will take you to the registration page. The next series of weekly webinars begins Monday, January 7th. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.